Zoom meeting Wednesday, November 18th. We have a full agenda, so I'm going to move right into our variances. The first one is 55 Commercial Street, Wellfleet. And that is CSN. So we ready to go?
Yes. Yes. Because you have your video off. Hi, we're just working on getting one of the cameras up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, thanks. So Linda, the engineer, is not able to make the meeting. But this is a request to amend the order of conditions on this system that was approved for the purposes of changing the actual septic technology, the IA technology. Is it echoing because we're next to each other? Oh. Okay. So we're seeking to install the FujiClean technology as opposed to the original cited technology, Arenco, I think it was. And do you guys have the proposed plan in front of you?
Yes. And the reason for the change, Ann, you want to explain that to us?
The reason for the change is that a couple of things. It's a smaller footprint. It allows us to take that pump tank and move it between the actual septic tank and leach tank rather than coming out along the side, the way the last iteration of the Felco plan was. So it's a little less excavation in the general area. It's a technology that I'm personally familiar with because I put it in at my house.
Yes, yes.
So far, really like it. It's very quiet. It is low energy consumption in terms of, it running pretty continuously, always, basically. And just feel it's better adapted to the site, really.
Ann, can I ask a question? This is Nick. Is the efficiency about the same as the Arenco? I'm not too familiar with the Fuji.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've just lost cameras, but yes,
Okay.
best of my knowledge.
Just wondering about the efficiency. I'm not too, yes. Right.
It's got the same.
And, one other question. I don't have the old. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Nick, you're breaking up. Are you
Ann, am
trying
I
to
still?
ask a question?
Yep. Yeah, I was going to ask if the tank, if the Fuji tank is in the same place. I don't have the old plan, what we previously approved. Is it pretty much in the same position as where the Arenco system was going to be?
No, it's a smaller tank and it's back a little bit so that it's not blocking the only egress to the back there. So there's
Okay.
a deck in the back that with the other plan, we would have to actually kind of cut a new egress in and out of that property. And because there's an apartment above, it's just kind of in an awkward spot. The original or the last iteration of the Felco plan
Right.
kind of blocks that area. That's right off the parking lot to the back deck.
It appeared to be closer to the building, and when I went there yesterday, the plan, to this new plan,
Uh,
no, or in the same area of the parking lot,
a little closer to the deck,
to the
maybe.
deck. Okay, not to the building. Okay,
Yeah, so the other issue is it is where, as far as we know, the existing septic tank is. So our request is actually to remove that, fill the leach tanks, empty and fill them, but to remove that tank and just do the excavation, as compactly as possible in that area.
and
It seems, and this is Nick again, it seems to be a little bit farther removed from the coastal bank, a little bit.
It's,
not really.
No, I don't think it
No.
is.
No,
remove-
I don't
I
think so.
know, I'm just thinking
No.
from the design here, the little box that you have, okay.
I have a question.
Yeah,
What is the use approval for this system?
it's a 3-bedroom. Oh,
No, I
they-
mean, in terms
No,
of the DEP, is it a provisional, a remedial?
yeah, it's provisional. They moved finally from piloting to provisional. So that's what the other IA technology was on the Felco plan, was a provisional approval.
Okay,
Right, so because that has a specific testing requirements, I know.
Yes,
Right.
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
okay.
and the
Okay,
FujiClean is
okay.
capable of 900 gallons per day, I believe. I looked at
Okay,
that earlier, just to make sure they could have the mixed use on. 900 gallons per day.
so the planned utilization is just for a 3-bedroom dwelling as of now?
No, it's a 1-bedroom apartment and 2 retail units.
Okay,
Right. That's
And-
just stated capacity of the system.
okay. And Hillary, do you have any comments or concerns about the utilization of the retail building, or is there any restrictions on that? Or that's kind of like an open door right now, right?
Correct. So the system is sized for a 1-bedroom apartment and 1,500 square feet of retail space.
Okay,
And so 185 gallons per day is what's required according to Title V. And they're requesting a 20% reduction. So they're providing 148 gallons per day. And I am wondering, Ann, do you know if the FujiClean gives you a reduction to groundwater? Because I know we approved that the last go round.
I believe so, in the sense that this is not language I'm familiar with, but when I talked with the engineer about the monolithic tank that was approved, she said, well, this is monolithic as well. It's a sealed tank. So that's a question that I can't completely answer.
I'm looking now through the paperwork just to see.
Are you looking on the DEP?
I have the approval, the provisional use approval. I just want to see because the estimated high groundwater and the depth to that looks like it's 3. Well, she's showing high groundwater at 3.2 feet from the bottom of the system. So 5 feet is what's normally required. And then she's showing the estimated depth to high water at 5.8 feet, plus or minus. So it looks like there's 3.2 feet from the bottom of the leach field to the adjusted high groundwater, and we normally look for 5 feet, and I know we approved the 3.2 feet. Sorry, I have a hot pepper flake stuck in my throat. On the last plan from David, based on the advanced text. So I just want to make sure that this one also comes with the reduction to groundwater.
I think I'd have this on speed dial, the DEP site here.
Hillary, to clarify, are you just looking on our plan to see whether or not that variance request is included in this?
No,
proposal?
I'm looking to see if the technology allows for the reduction to the groundwater, because I don't know that I saw it on the plan that you're requesting the variance.
Okay.
I know she removed variances that weren't necessary. What she told me was that it was ending up with less variances required. Sorry, I was hoping that she'd be available for this.
Any system structures with exterior piping connections located within 12 inches or below. So watertight and neoprene seals.
I only see the one you just read out loud.
Yeah, I'm on page 13 of 17, so making my way through here.
Okay.
I wish I had the old plan too, to just measure the variances to see the difference between the variances for the wetland, you know?
Yeah.
I have them on this one, but
Hey, Hillary, I want to pause.
Yep, we hear you, Ken. Ken?
He's frozen. Give him a second.
do you want to move on, Hillary, to the second one, and then we'll ask Ann to just hold off for a minute, or
Yeah,
what
that's
do you want
fine.
to do?
That's fine.
It's up to you. It's up to the committee. You want to move on? We'll move on to the next one. And we'll
That'll
come
be
back
fine.
to you, Ann. Is that
And
okay
the
with
agenda's
everybody?
pretty full.
Yeah, so you can take your time looking
Fine
for
with
it.
Nick.
Okay. And our second variance is for 85 Chequesset Bluff. And that is, David, are you here? David LaJoy from Felco.
He's here. He just needs to unmute himself.
Okay. We can't hear you, David.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I don't think that's my project unless I'm mistaken. Are you looking at one of my plans?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went to Long Neck. Yeah.
Okay,
So hold on, Dave.
Jason,
We'll get to
yeah.
you in a minute.
okay, no problem.
It's Jason, Janet, yeah.
It's Jason. Yeah, Jason, are you here?
Jason, yeah.
Jason.
Gary, you are muted, so we can't hear you.
So Jason Ellis for 85 Chequesset Bluff.
I don't see Jason on the call, Janet.
Okay.
Janet, it was interesting. Did you go there yesterday?
I did.
Because nothing was marked off, really. Did you see
No, I
anything?
noticed that. Yeah. Maybe he's not ready yet,
So maybe they're not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went out there this morning. There's nothing
All
there,
right.
so.
All right, so
Maybe
let's,
not ready.
if Jason isn't here, let's move to you back again, David. If you're here, we could unmute him, Courtney,
Yeah,
Rebecca.
good afternoon. It's a project on 165 Long Avenue for Eric Winslow's. And existing house with 4 bedrooms plus an office area that we believe it will be another bedroom, so a total of 5 bedrooms. Has an existing tank and a failed leach pit. So we're close to the salt marsh on the east side. The locust well, which is down on the south side of the property. Just maintaining those 2 distances of 100 feet from the top of the bank and 100 feet from the well. We're proposing a 4-bedroom system consisting of 6 leach pits with stone. We need a sideline variance of 4 feet, providing 6. Trying to keep the system of gravity flow from the existing septic tank where we have the leach areas uphill. And
Yes,
to make sure that we're trying to keep it going by gravity, we're going to be in the ground and only being able to provide about 5 to 6 feet of cover over the leach area. So that's the variance. If we're under 6 feet, we don't need approval for it. We did provide a vent so that there'd be access to the air through the vent, which is also needed because it's in the driveway.
yes.
And if we tried to move it appreciably to the west towards Long Avenue, we're just getting deeper and deeper into the ground. We did some soil testing, unfortunately, with the machine that we had, and trying to keep the driveway pretty well intact. We dug down enough to be able to verify soils, but I need to dig deeper to make sure I'm 5 feet above the groundwater. So what I did was I went over there and did a hand auger down by the marsh, verified the elevation of the groundwater, and we're showing you that we're gonna be about 9 feet above the adjusted groundwater elevation. No change in the use. Need 3 variances, and the final variance is a 19% reduction in the leach area size. We're providing 81%. Be happy to answer any questions.
Gary, you have any questions or concerns?
No, it's really, there's not a lot of options for this site
Yeah.
because of the coastal nature. So I have no questions.
Okay. Any other questions from the board or comments?
So I'm pleased he's moved 100 feet out of the buffer zone, so that's nice.
Yes, yes.
Ken, Dave,
Ken,
Yes,
Dave, I just wanted, could you go over leaving the tank where it is? The septic
Yes.
tank?
that's an
The
existing
hydraulic?
it's existing 1,000-gallon tank.
Right,
That was the correct size when they installed it originally. But under maximal feasible compliance, we can keep that 1,000-gallon tank.
all right.
okay. Any other questions from the board? Hillary, want to make a motion?
Sure. I move to approve the Felco plan 20022 dated 10/28/20 and grant the 3 variances requested in the letter of 11/5/20 for the upgrade of a septic system to serve a 5-bedroom dwelling. Dave, I had one question for you on if you happen to know the upland and lowland calculation of that lot. I just want to determine if you're grandfathered non-conforming or if all of it is upland.
Yeah, I don't believe it's all upland. I can find that or calculate that out for you.
Okay, perfect. So,
I'll do that.
subject to the following conditions, design flow to be limited to 550 gallons per day, a reduced leach area variance for a 19% reduction in the SAS size with 448 gallons per day provided, no increase in habitable area without Board of Health review, no conversion of use without Board of Health review, well water testing and deed recording.
Can I have a motion? We have that. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Nick.
All in favor? Janet, aye.
Nick, I. Did say second.
And Ken is gone. And Gary?
Gary.
Aye.
Ken got disconnected and apologizes that he won't be here.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to, do you have your information, Hillary?
No, I can't find it in the approval letters. I put a call into Brian Dudley, but I guess we need to wait to figure that out.
Can we continue that then?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yes, let's continue that. Okay, and
And I
that's
would
it.
just
Now,
ask Ann if you could ask Linda to verify that the technology allows for a reduction to the high groundwater. That's what we need to know.
Okay, I just texted her. She's saying any IA gives reduction to groundwater if it's nitrogen reducing. Not 100% positive on this particular product. Felco plan had the same distance to groundwater.
All
Yeah.
technologies are different.
different.
So she's going to contact Fuji.
Perfect.
okay. Okay, thank you, Ann.
Okey doke.
Next on the agenda, we have Pio Lombardo regarding the Nitrex system. Hi,
Excuse me.
Pio, welcome. Yes.
I'm sorry, David Joy, thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
I will just introduce PO. As you recall, we have a health regulation for your consideration for the board, which we've talked about at past meetings. And in that draft regulation, we've identified 3 technologies that I believe would qualify for this less than 10 milligram per liter by third-party testing criteria. One of the technologies that we identified, one of those 3 was the Nitrex system, which PO has developed. And I've known PO for quite some time. He's got an extensive background in the field. And so I'm really pleased that he's been able to join us today to talk a little bit about the technology and the nitrogen issue in general. So at this point, I think he has a slideshow. With your permission, we'll ask him to share his screen and go ahead through that presentation.
Thank you. I'm going to mute myself so it's clearer. So,
Okay, well, thank you, Scott. Like Scott said, I have a presentation to review things. Do I just share my screen? Is that the way it works?
Yes.
Okay.
Hang on one sec. Let me just give you the ability to do that.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, you're all set.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to reconnect with the town. We have a long history with the town, which goes back to many decades. So what I would like to do, if I do it right, there we go. Okay, so I've put together a brief summary presentation, PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible because I like to maximize the amount of time we have for responding to any questions or comments that you have. So what I'm going to speak to are both the Nitrex technology that we have championed. The technology was invented by the professors at the University of Waterloo in Canada back in the mid-1990s. And we partnered with them and have commercialized the technology throughout the United States. Lombardo Associates has been the engineer for over $200 million of distributed wastewater systems for municipalities pretty heavily in New England and the mid-Atlantic states for the last 45 years. In terms of our major accomplishments that are relevant to Wellfleet, to put our experience in context, I was the engineer that wrote the engineering component of the 208 plan back in 1978. As you may know, Lombardo Associates prepared the wastewater component of the water supply and wastewater management plan that was prepared back in 2001. So we're intimately familiar with the details on the in the town. And we recently submitted a proposal for the affordable housing project that's under consideration. We've engineered over 30 cluster wastewater systems, over 300 individual systems. And these individual systems are not just Nitrex. We've engineered virtually every technology that's out there, including the Fuji system. I think we've engineered probably at least 30, if not more, of them, heavily in New York. We engineered the first municipal on-site wastewater management district in 1980, in which the municipality owned and operated the septic systems, as well as they were recipients of grants. We've worked for many municipal clients in many states. We've authored 8 EPA manuals on decentralized wastewater management. We've been involved with private-public partnerships, and Scott and I have chatted about how that may be relevant for the town. And we've advised municipalities from how to undertake them. So we've dealt with public-private partnerships, frankly, from both sides of the table. And we're working in a number of communities that are undertaking large IA implementation projects. Now, to get into the details of the technology, the process flow diagram there illustrates how the system works. So basically, it's a conventional septic tank. It goes into a nitrifying unit, and then it goes into the Nitrex filter denitrifying unit. And in the nitrifying unit, we use recirculating media filters as the technique for accomplishing that. If we need to, I'll be happy to go through the science here, but I imagine you've heard these the science discussion in the past. Our business model has been to provide single source responsibilities to municipal and private clients through what we call, or what's referred to as a turnkey service, and where it's we guarantee the effluent quality, guarantee the price, and the installation work is publicly bid. We've done a number of projects in New York and in North Carolina for public clients in which that was the case. In terms of Nitrex applications, we've been doing this now for over 20 years. This is a listing of the project. So we go back to basically the year 2000, where they were installed at 2 sites in Oregon, installed in Montana. And both of those areas, the effluent total nitrogen of 2.2. These are all passive systems. Excuse me, they were completely passive, no pump at all. The technology was evaluated at MassTech and at the Otis Test Center back in 2001. And George Hoyfelder certified reports that we are able to achieve effluent total nitrogen of under 4.1 milligrams per liter. It was tested by the Florida Department of Health back in 2012 and also achieved an average of effluent 4 milligrams per liter. Suffolk County, New York tested the system in a variety of locations, and the average effluent there was 1.58. The technology is permitted to achieve under 10 milligrams per liter in a variety of states, including Massachusetts. In terms of the Nitrex performance at a variety of installations, here's a quick summary of the data. And as you can see, by and large, we achieve 3 milligrams per liter plus or minus for systems that have been installed and operating, many of which over 15 years. This is a table of the systems that were tested by Suffolk County, by the by a regional engineer as well as CDM. They went and collected samples. And as you can see, the average effluent nitrogen levels was 1.57. So that's the quick summary on the individual systems. In terms of the cluster neighborhood type systems, we have a number of projects. Frankly, Scott recommended to a client our use of the system in Mashpee and in Eastham. I want to say it was over 20 years ago. So in Granby, Mass, we have engineered a system for a condominium project, 76 units. Design flow is 17,000 gallons a day. And you can see on the left-hand side there, effluent quality has been averaging 2 milligrams per liter. And if you look at the data, you'll see many times we're achieving under 1 milligram per liter. This is for a system that gets an operator visits twice a month. This is the system in Mashpee that was installed, and as you can see, it's all underneath this parking area, and it's an affordable housing project that was predominantly residential, but it had a small commercial application. That system's been in operation since 2006, and there's the data on the performance of the system. The requirement for provisional systems is that you have to show 18 months of data, and then once you demonstrate reliable performance, DEP allows it to go to quarterly data collection. This is the project in Eastham, in which it was another affordable housing project constructed around the same time, and you can see the data there is very similar. Our total nitrogen effluent quality has been averaging about 2. And for some of our other projects around the country, one of our larger ones was in Malibu, California, at a shopping center in which the system was predominantly installed underneath the parking area. And we frankly, as in Mashpee, we try to focus on putting things under parking areas so that we're not consuming space, because that can be either difficult to find or very expensive. The data for the Malibu site is there, and you can see over the period of record, the effluent quality was less than 3. And operator requirements there were less than 4 hours per week. On these systems, we have continuous electronic monitoring that we access via the web or the telephone. So we're monitoring these systems or aware of what's going on continuously. In North Carolina, we were sole source for a project at a school that was causing violation of drinking water standards, and went in and installed the Nitrex system for them. As you can see, their effluent quality on that system has been averaging about 2 milligrams per liter. In terms of individual on-site systems, they're easy to retrofit to a Title V system. Electric use is typically around $50 per year. And effluent quality, it's very clean water. Bottom line is that we've been able to achieve these low levels of nitrogen with very passive systems. With all due humility, these are best in class. Nobody else has really achieved these levels. We typically work for the owners of projects. In terms of cost, there's always a lot of depends on site conditions, but generally the capital cost we have found are going to be in the let me say even $22,000 and up to $30,000 range. Our initial, and then our DEP approval has been provisional since 2006. We frankly had our piloting approval back in 2001. The only reason that we don't have a general use permit is that there's no demand. There's only a demand for these technologies when there's regulations. So, so that's the only reason why we don't have general use permit. However, we are working on a project where DEP is approving the technology to achieve under 10 milligrams per liter, which, and this is for a project is in a water supply recharge area. So DEP is very comfortable with the technology achieving low levels of nitrogen. Here's a couple of examples on single family applications. This was a 2-family application which had difficult soil conditions, so we used drip irrigation. And you can see the wastewater strength was very high, and we were able to get it down again below 3. One of the issues that we have experienced and have solved is that in very high nitrogen wastewater conditions, alkalinity can be the serious constraint on the system's performance. And Cape Cod water supply is low in alkalinity. So it's a, let me say, a design issue that needs to be paid attention to. And in some cases can restrict the amount of nitrogen that can be removed. This is an example of a very compact footprint. Some of you may recognize, in this case, we were using the Orenco Advantex unit. And Frank, for this location, we were able to put it on top of the septic tank. And from there, it then flows through the Nitrex filter. For a residential application, it's generally going to be 1,000, the same footprint as a 1,000-gallon septic tank. So with that, I'll be happy to respond to any questions and have a discussion with you. And again, thank you for this opportunity to meet with you. And I'm thrilled to hear from Scott what you're thinking about doing. We've been advocating this approach for many, many moons and have worked with a number of counties on how to establish on-site wastewater management districts. And frankly, did the first one in New York State back in 1980. So So we've got quite a bit of, let me say, experience, been there, done that, and commend you for looking at a decentralized, multifaceted approach to deal with TMDL requirements. And the last comment I'll make to that point, in the work that we did for Mashpee, God, it's 8 years ago, we demonstrated to them, and the Massachusetts Estuary Project affirmed that we were able to achieve the TMDL requirements by using a Nitrex-based approach. So we have multiple third-party certifications that the approach is technically viable. And we've got documented experience on cost effectiveness. So with that, I'm happy to have a discussion with you and add clarifications, answer questions, etc.
Janet, Helen Miranda Wilson has her hand up.
Okay, I defer to the board if the board has questions first.
Any questions from the board?
When this is Nick, Janet, may I ask a question
Yes.
to Mr. Lombardo? Mr. Lombardo, you mentioned about using the system in addition to an Advantex. I mean, is that what happens? You add on to what's already there, or is this a system that stands alone?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. We define the Nitrex system as a combination of recirculating media filter and the Nitrex filter. Because, and I got a lot of reasons why, but the short answer is that we require that they be integrated, and there's a lot of, and we engineer it as a package. Now we have used the Advantex as one of the techniques as a nitrifying filter, but we have found that you have to engineer it a certain way for the system to work. As an example, Advantex comes in a mode 1 or a mode 3 technique. And frankly, for these systems to work well, we spend most of our time making sure the nitrifying system works.
Works, right.
So,
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and we will not just supply the Nitrex filter, because when something goes wrong, we're guilty until it's proven innocent. And we've been through that before.
So when you say retrofit, you mean just on the standard Title V, or?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so we're
Okay.
saying for standard Title V, we would put in a 2-unit system. That's the recirculating media filter and the Nitrex filter prior to the drain field.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the
And,
retrofit would, one more, Janet, then I'll
Sure.
stop. And the retrofit would cost what you suggested, 20, 25?
Yeah, retrofit,
Okay.
there's always a lot of depends, but
Okay.
we frankly did them for $18,000 years ago in Maryland. But a 20 to 25 is a good number. There may be situations where it could go up to 30, it's landscaping issues, et cetera.
Right, no, just ballpark. I just want to get an idea on the retrofit. Thank you.
In some cases you need 1 pump, in some cases you need 2 pumps.
Right. All right, thank you.
Okay, that was my question. I wanted to know the cost range. So thank you, Pio.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that.
Yeah,
Are there any other questions from the
Yeah,
board?
excuse me, if I may,
Sorry.
when those costs that I'm sharing with you are total capital costs. So that includes equipment, it includes installation allowance, it includes engineering and permitting. And we urge communities to do these things in a group. There's a lot of costs that get added when they're done one at a time. There's a lot of cost savings, economies of scale when you do, let's say, our recommendation, you want to do 20 at a time.
Okay.
We did that for one community where we frankly did 200 at once. Now, this was years ago, not for nitrogen removal, but frankly, just for mounded systems.
Okay. Thank you. So you've had a lot of experience with the clusters, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
With all due humility, I don't think anybody else is more.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Can I ask a
Okay, we
question?
have Dear Helen. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I was wondering, so if you look at our regulation, we'll sort of be picking properties off one by one, not going this route of, you know, getting communities to do it at a time. Is there any way to sort of think about the long-term plan for Wellfleet when sort of assessing the engineering, design, and installation for these, knowing that there are only a few companies out there that offer sort of the enhanced IA systems? I guess I hear what you're saying, that it's cheaper to do more at one time. I'm just not sure how we're gonna, based on the
Right.
way our regulation is drafted, how we're gonna get more at one time.
Well,
Unless we make it so attractive.
exactly. It's always about money.
Well, right. And I guess I'm just forward thinking. The technology sounds good. It's working.
Well, Haley, that's a good question. And, you know, there's always a lot of different ways to quote, skin the cat. The objective would be to, let me ask you a question. Of these situations, do you know where they are? Or are they going to be random?
It's going to be random all over
Right.
town when properties transfer or they want to upgrade their building or do construction projects. So
Right.
there's a number of different triggers,
Right.
but it could be from South Wellfleet to North Wellfleet.
Okay. Well, I believe I'm sure you know that in Title V, that in a property transfers, when you have a failing system, the property owner has 2 years to correct the situation. So, and I'm just thinking out loud here, that could be the mechanism, and because we had a client that we did this for many years ago, but basically they put the funds for the rehabilitation into an escrow account so that it was there, but it got addressed after the sale of the property.
Yeah.
So that you could, you know, one could use that kind of approach to, at the end of the day, it's not insignificant, the cost savings.
Yeah.
And I have seen in, you know, the work that we're doing in Suffolk County as an example, they're onesie twosies. Oh my God, easy $5,000 to $8,000 extra just because of that.
Yeah.
And
I
the
guess what I'm
bureaucracy.
trying to see if we can avoid, but I'm not sure how we can do it based on how we'd be looking at our regulation. That's all.
Yeah, the other
Right.
option that I would urge the town to consider is if these systems were, let's say, municipally owned.
Yeah, that was my other thought.
We're big fans of that. We've been recommending that approach for 40 years. And once that, if they're municipally owned, then it's a easy way to do it, if you will. And when they're municipally owned, the advantage there, you're not going to have to deal with the issue about is the grant taxable? Because that's been a monkey wrench in New York, where it caused a lot of consternations, where the IRS issued an opinion that grant was taxable income. And some people
Interesting.
got $20,000 grants, so that was not a pleasant surprise.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of it because it keeps it simple. We get agnostic about technology. You know, whatever's the best thing, let's just do it. But the important thing is, let me call it a need to establish a utility that would make these things happen. In my opinion, the best way to look at these things is you're looking at a quote sewer equivalency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And relying on property owners to manage individual IA technology, you know, is challenging.
Challenging.
Madam Chair, if I may add a comment here. I mentioned to Hillary that I have contacted Patty Daly, one of the attorneys of the Cape Cod Commission, who has offered to provide some assistance in developing a responsible management entity, or RME, approach that would couple with the regulation. And we are in discussion on this exact issue in terms of who might maintain ownership. And I think what PO is mentioning about the possibility of the municipality maintaining ownership does have some distinct advantages. And this is something that Patty's going to be helping and advising on. I'm hoping in the next several weeks we'll have some thoughts and recommendations that I can share with you on that.
Yeah, and what we've done.
Scott, on that,
I'm sorry.
no, it's quite all right, Pierre. Scott, on that point, do you think there's any place for the state to step in as far as subsidy or anything?
Well, that would be wonderful. I mean, there are, I think now.
Well, there's
with
some
the-
money's coming available, yeah, for wastewater and, you know,
There-
I'm just dreaming,
there-
I guess.
No, there are. It's a good,
Yeah.
it's a very good thought. There's certainly the SNEP grant, which is unfortunately does not cover Wellfleet because of the geography, but there are other state grant programs. But frankly, this new Cape Cod Water Trust Program
Right.
that just got put together, I think provides a really good source of
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
funding. And so I think there's multiple opportunities
Okay.
for the town to get financing, which we can certainly talk about at another meeting.
Very good.
And
Thank you, Scott.
yeah, a couple of things. First of all, when you're municipally owned, the likelihood of obtaining grants is enhanced significantly. And when we established the onsite wastewater management districts in New York, they received a ton of money from federal and state grants. So that is a big plus. We've also prepared, financial pro formas that would show the economics of these things, because at the end of the day, when your utility is, you're taking this ownership on, you need to run it like it's a business. So now you're going to run it as a utility and show that the fees are going to be coming in, revenue going to come in to cover expenses. So having that financial model is a critical component to the project.
Right.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, one other comment related to this is, there's two issues that a Board of Health or whatever county agency, one is regulatory and the other one is operational. You can't mix them together because you're in a conflict of interest. So the ideal situation is establishing let me call it sewer district equivalency, and then empowering that district to focus on decentralized systems.
Okay. Thank you, Pio. Helen, did you have a question?
I have one comment to address the last element of your discussion, and then I have two questions. So my comment is this: applying for money, getting grants to, let's say, put in a cluster system to address the issues in certain neighborhoods that are overwhelmed is, I think, a good idea. But having had in-depth experience now over 21 years with having the town run such, shall we say, a system. What was the term that Pio just used? It's a district that's, a collection of cluster systems, which I've been pushing ever since I started doing the public service. And Pio, I was very impressed with you and that element of addressing water issues back in the early 2000s. I was there. You're familiar to me. I'm sure I'm not familiar to you. The water part of that.
I remember the name and remember Roger Putnam.
Yeah, the thing is, the water part of that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
But the wastewater part of it was good, but never mind. So my comment is, not to have, I think, just my opinion, I'm not here as a delegate of the select board, which I'm on now, PO. I think it's one thing to get grants and for the town to organize getting grants for putting these systems in, even if they're for individuals, individual lots.
Right.
It would help organize cluster systems because we have the 208 plan we have to comply with, and we do have some problem areas. So to have the town organizing that and getting funding for it is one thing. Having it then maintained by the town is quite another thing. And I have seen real issues with that. We have a municipal water system, and bless their hearts, the water commissioners do their best, but it's a handful. So I'm also aware of the fact that, for example, on Lieutenant Island, they have a very well coordinated, it's just a neighborhood association, and they've got their act together, I'm going to use another word, in ways that surprise me. In other words, these are the stakeholders, and they've organized in terms of the business of having things done. There's no cluster system out there, but they have water issues, they have road issues. I'm impressed. We have a private water system over, Scott, geez, I've grown up here. It's over sort of in Pleasant Point. There are a whole lot of, Hillary, help me. It's, there are how many?
Well, I guess I don't want to cut you off, Helen, but suffice it to
Okay,
say,
so I've got more questions.
I know you have more
Right.
questions, but on this particular issue, Scott, myself, and the wastewater committee and the county are talking about a management entity. So I don't think we need to boggle down the Board of Health meeting in this particular instance. We just wanted to hear specifically about the technology. I'm sorry I threw in the piece about funding, but my mind is sort of always going to that because that's going to be.
Fine, let me go to my
proper
question.
meeting.
If I may interrupt just for a quick, Helen, I think I know where you're going with this. I think I know. And you're raising a good point. And what we recommend, frankly, on something like this is that the operation and maintenance of the systems is outsourced. That the town just provides, let me call it the executive management of this, but the actual conduct of the work is performed by the private sector. And
Yes, I understand. But the private sector, meaning the homeowners, but let me get to my two questions, which
Okay.
are related to the systems that you're talking about. Sorry, Hillary. First is, what else, if anything, does the system address besides nitrogen? I'm going to give you both questions and you can then answer them.
Right.
I understand the main focus is nitrogen, removal, but is there anything else it deals with? And the thing that's more important in my mind is this. So we have different ways in which people get their water here. Many, many people have private wells of water unless they have an additive within the dwelling is not pH neutral. In other words, it's acidic. Many new houses have, marble chips in the basement. I do. I don't live in a new house. But my question is, you brought up the fact that alkaline water, which isn't exactly the same as pH neutral, that the system operates differently with that. May we know a little more about that? Because our municipal water is amended for pH.
Okay.
And it's, neutral. It's not acidic.
Right.
I know about biofilm in pipes.
Right.
That builds up if the water isn't acidic, but what else do we need to know about that? Because, for example,
what happens for nitrogen, let me get into it quickly. What happens for nitrogen removal is that the water will get acidic if there's insufficient alkalinity. Now, there's a difference between alkalinity and pH. Alkalinity is buffering capacity of the system. Otherwise, if you have low alkalinity, pH can change rapidly. And for systems with low alkalinity, what happens is the nitrification process can't work. It stops. It generally stops whenever you get below 6. If you get below 5, forget it. It's going to be, and if you don't nitrify, you're not going to get denitrification. So that's the, that's the operational issue. To your other, so there's a lot of depends. We've seen it on individual systems and we've seen it on community systems. I would be concerned about it just going into any system on any Cape site. So that's one issue. The other issue that you raised about what other contaminants can be addressed, we have addressed the emerging contaminants in one system. What we did in that location was, frankly, we add ozone to the treatment process, and the ozone does the emerging contaminant removal. Okay, so that's one technique. The other issue of concern in some locations is phosphorus. Now, the system could be enhanced to achieve phosphorus removal as well. So,
Okay, thank you, Pio.
We gotta move it, yeah.
Thank you. And I think we've gotten our Board of Health, is everyone in the Board of Health membership happy with our presentation and the information we've gotten? Thank you. Thank you. It's been very edifying. And the rest of it could be taken care of with the wastewater. Yes. Thank you, Pio, so much.
well, thank you for that.
Let's move on to pay as you throw with the DPW report.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick update on pay as you throw and how it stands right now. First of all, I just wanted to thank the board and Hillary for your support to the department as we've been going through COVID and how it affects our operation at the transfer station. First of all, I can say at least since the end of March or the beginning of April, the effect has been that number one, our municipal solid waste numbers have gone up.
Okay.
And our recycling numbers have come down. Probably some of that is expected. I know that when the board made their original decision back in March, the end of March, at least some of the reasoning was that it would minimize the trips to the store that many residents had to make purchasing bags. There'd be less handling of materials, and that it would decrease the financial burden on residents, at least temporarily, to have to buy bags. So the effect of that is municipal solid waste did go up, and as I say, recycling came down. So I think maybe if you had asked me a few weeks ago for a recommendation, we probably would have come to the board and said, maybe we can readdress this in after the holidays and January, and maybe continue on with pay as you throw, because at the very least, if we didn't continue with pay as you throw, we'd have to consider what pay as you throw brings to the town. And some of that is, well, if we didn't have pay as you throw, there'd be a loss of revenue, obviously, from the bags. And that would have to be made up by probably an increase in the sticker fee to help cover the cost of the transfer station operation. And then it also affects our ability to receive grants. The fact that we are pay as you throw community greatly affects our ability to receive grants, which we have done. So those two items to consider going forward. Now, having said that, I don't know if the board has a feeling, given that the fact that, COVID is on the increase right now, and I don't know where we'll be in a month or two. Nobody seems to know. Hopefully we'll be in a better situation. But the original decision was made around COVID, and the fact that it was here and it was increasing even at that time. So I think that might be a consideration that the board may want to make now or to defer for another month. So that's sort of the abridged version of where we are right now.
Okay,
So
thank you, thank you.
okay.
I
Sure.
think that was going to be my first question. How big of a financial impact is it having on the town? But I don't think that's our purview. Our purview is to decide what we need to do from a Department of Health
Certainly.
perspective. So, and does anybody have any comments or questions on that? I have a question about, you converted to single stream recycling. How has that gone?
So here's the
Due to COVID.
Yeah, that was the second subject I was going to bring up. We went from dual stream over to single stream so that we could widen the area up the transfer station and keep more social distancing up at the transfer station. That's a long explanation on how we handle those materials up to the transfer station, which I won't go into right now.
Right.
So having said that, the effect of doing that has increased the cost of recycling by about 40%. In other words, it costs about 40% more to maintain single stream recycling as to maintain dual stream. And
Okay.
it is at least my intention going forward to gradually go back to dual stream. It's it cost us, the town, around another $40,000 to $50,000 a year just to maintain single stream recycling.
Okay.
So
Do you feel it met the objective as far as meeting health regulations and et cetera, as far as health safety goes?
yes, I did, but
Did it
the
make
problem-
did it make a big enough difference?
in terms of meeting health regulations?
Well, in other words, if the purpose was to decrease the amount of traffic at the site recycling area, did the
Yeah.
single stream meet the
It-
objective of decreasing increasing social distance, et cetera?
It met the immediate objective of the time. In other words, when COVID was here, we were sort of in, I won't say panic mode, but we felt the responsibility to do something immediately to keep people apart. So we did that. Going back to dual stream is not going to increase that vulnerability any more than it would going shopping at Stop and Shop. In fact,
Okay.
as everybody's familiar with the area, and of course you're out in the open, but we did that as a sort of a knee-jerk reaction to keep everyone safe up there.
It's very candid of you to say, and I'm sure everybody that coming in there is masked.
Yes, well, we tried,
Yes, thank
tried
you.
to maintain that, yes.
Yes. Okay. And are there any questions from the board? Any
Janet,
comments?
Janet,
Yes.
this is Nick. As far as COVID goes, I don't think we're in any different position now than we were when
No,
we extended things. So I don't think we should change all that much. As far as the decision of double stream versus single stream, I don't know, the economics of that, but that, as you said, from a health perspective, I don't think we should change anything.
I think you're right, Nick. It's from a Board of Health perspective. And I think the financial parameters are up to others to look at too, and not for us to evaluate. But that's up to you,
Yeah.
DPW to evaluate, because
Right.
it's what's going to change what you do, And I don't know, I don't have any numbers about what pay as you throw brings to the town as far as revenue goes. So,
Yeah.
what's the
I
feeling
have
of the
those
board?
numbers.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Those numbers are available. We're going through the budget process right now.
Okay,
so
okay,
We're
good,
considering it
good.
now.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I guess I'm wondering, are we sort of splitting the difference if we go from single stream back to dual stream recycling and continue with the no pay as you throw bags?
Yeah, well, I think the no pay as you throw bags is probably something that, as Nick said, at this point in time, we shouldn't make a drastic change because things are not that much better. But if your expertise says that the double stream is meeting our health objectives, then I think that maybe that's where we could make a motion.
I guess I would ask before we make the motion, how long do we want to go with this? Because I don't want people every month wondering like, are we going back to purple bags? Are we not going back to purple bags? And so I feel like we have to go at least several months out from now.
Yes, I don't think it should be January 1. I agree with you, with you, Hillary. But what does everybody else feel?
I can tell you that a lot of state agencies right now are moving everything out until March.
Till spring. Yeah, I would say till spring. Springtime.
okay.
We don't know. Winter is a difficult time with this virus, so I would say till spring. That'd be my
You
bet.
want me to put March in your thing, or are you going to make a motion to do that?
Well, I can make it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Nick.
That way.
Just
Well,
can we
just-
just check with Mark? Can we just check with Mark and make sure that's
Okay.
I think, yeah, if I may, I would think March would be a good time because then we can reevaluate going into spring and things starting to get busier then, so we can plan ahead. I would like, regards to the single versus dual stream, I'd like to plan on probably going back to dual stream in January, and that'll give us enough time to let everybody know. And so that we could return to dual stream in January and then revisit pay-as-you-throw in March, if that's what the board would prefer.
Yeah, and that'll help you in the budgetary process too, to plan, to make some
Correct.
plans.
Correct.
Okay, Nick, you want to make a motion?
Janet, Helen Miranda Wilson has her hand up.
Yes, okay, Helen?
Helen, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to keep clear of the money part of it, but my hair is standing on end. I feel safe at the dump. And I just want to confirm something that was said. It's a health related issue. Through you to Mark. So if we go back to recycling and, not single stream, it would be just as managed and just as safe as far as I can make out.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I'm not sure that we shouldn't do it right away, because the numbers, remember, affect everybody. That's a chunk of change. And if you're thinking about people minding about buying the purple bags, well, it costs money too if we don't have that revenue and it's spread out. So I'm just putting that out there, because sooner or later, one way or another, we're paying more for this. And also there's a kind of consciousness that we're not recycling as well as we should. And this community is interested in recycling. We all groan, we all find it a pain in the neck, but basically most of the community wants to do it. So why are we waiting? Why are we waiting to go back to, the different categories of recycling?
I think Mark said it was more based on an operational and communication and informational aspect, more than the fact that, as he assured us, it is as safe as the single stream.
Yes, and I was just confirming that. And I heard about the informational and communication, but guess what? That can happen a lot quicker, believe me, throughout the community. Operationally, however, Mark, is it that hard for the staff at the transfer station? How complicated would that be for them to change back? You guys seem to change to single stream in the blink of an eye, but how many months, how many weeks? I mean, how long would it take you to go back to what we had?
I can certainly consider doing it sooner than later. It was certainly easier to switch to single stream than it is to go back to dual stream, because it's more separation for people to do. So, and of course, I'm relying on my foreman at the transfer station who see those.
He's there.
See those residents every day. So he wants enough time to notify people, put it on the website. That's not to say it's going to take as long as January, Helen, you're right. But I'm comfortable with his opinion, being that he's the one on site. So I'll talk with Mike and maybe we can get it done sooner. I just want to be fair to everybody, that everybody knows that they have a chance to, make provisions to make those changes. That's all.
Can I just
Yes,
add to
because
that,
it
Mark?
starts at home. It starts at home,
Right.
not in the transfer station.
Right.
May I just
So
say
that's the
what I
mindset
would
that
do?
has to change.
Yes, the mindset changed before. One more point. So I don't know about it. I show up with my great bin of mixed recyclables. I see that I have to, separate them. And I take 7.5 to 10 minutes longer that one time. After that, I'll know to put it all in the correct separate bins. Do you see what I mean? It can happen very quickly, a pain in the neck for the staff for about a week. And then after that, not so much. Thank you for letting me participate.
And I think also we have to take it, multi-person households too, that the amount of recycling might vary. So I don't know. I'm comfortable with Mark and Jay making that decision as far as the timing goes.
Shall we wait to hear until if it's going to be January or sooner, or before we make any kind of move now, or does it matter?
Or why don't we can make a motion that says the Department of Health approves the transition from single stream to dual stream based on the operational plan of the DPW between now and January. Bingo.
Okay.
Is that
All
okay,
right.
Mark?
That's fine.
Yeah,
Jay?
that's fine. That's fine.
Janet, I think Mike was trying to have a few words before.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you very
Sorry.
much. I just wanted to make one comment about going back from single to dual stream. And that is, it was easy to switch to single stream because if you have your recyclables separated and you show up at the transfer station, all you have to do is dump 2 buckets into the same thing. When we go back to dual stream, I want to give people a lot of notice. There are some people that come every week. There are some people that come once a month, once every 3 months, once every, 3 times a day. Sometimes it varies, but I want them to know ahead of time what they're going to see when they get up there. Because when we go back to dual stream, we really can't combine things anymore in order to have those containers marketable. So we need to put that word out there that signs are going to change, things like that, so people are ready. And it takes, I would like to see about a month I'd feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Thank you.
So would that generic motion work for you, Mark and Jay? And
Yes.
okay. And
Yes.
Nick, you want to make it then?
Well, on the, if the Board of Health approves the notion of returning to from single stream to double stream at the under the guidance of the DPW. What else do we want to include in this?
And the pay
By
as you go
January
bags until
2021.
March.
Yeah. What was that, Rebecca? I didn't.
And the pay as you go bags until March
Until March.
2021.
Okay. And,
Okay, thank you.
is that sufficient enough, Janet? I mean,
I think so. Do you think so,
confusing there, but-
Hillary? Hillary, are you happy?
Yes, that's perfect.
Then we
I'll
want a
get
happy
the wording
Hillary.
correct for you.
We want a happy Hillary. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. On to this full agenda. Okay, we're on to the shellfish relay.
We have to vote
With
on that,
Nancy?
Janet? We have to
Can I
vote on
just-
How about, that's a good idea.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
that?
Sure.
Before we get to Nancy Chivetta, we did have Jason Ellis join us, and I did find the approval for the technology on Ann's plan. So I
Oh,
don't
good,
know if
good.
we want to circle back. I don't know what anyone's time frame is. I do know that I have a Conservation Commission meeting that starts at 4 o'clock. So I guess I'm thinking if we could tackle the variances while I still have time, going
Yes.
back to Jason and going back to Ann, you guys can go on with the shellfish business and I can transfer over to Conscom.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan, Hillary.
Okay, so
Okay.
if we go back to Ann's, I think it can
Let's
be
go to
really
Ann.
quick, which is 55 Commercial Street. The Fuji Clean, under the
Yes,
remedial.
I'm sorry. Mark has, yes, Mark.
I'm sorry, were you going to take a vote on that last motion?
Yeah.
or-
Let's do that. Okay. We have a motion on the floor. I second. Does anybody, all in favor? Aye.
Nick, aye. Yeah.
Janet, aye. Gary, aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for
Sorry,
that
I assumed it
reminder.
was
Thank you
unanimous.
very much.
I'm not the chair of this committee, so I'm flubbing along
You're
here.
doing a great
It's
job.
Thanks
okay.
for-
I wrote
thanks for
unanimous
everything you did.
anyway.
Okay, so moving back to 55
Commercial.
Commercial Street.
Yes,
Map 15, parcel 101. The Fuji Clean Technology under the remedial use category allows for a reduction to groundwater. So that would be the category it would go in as. Was that your
Okay.
understanding, Ann?
Yes, that's exactly my understanding of.
Okay. So not
Okay.
provisional, but back to remedial for this one. So if that's the case, and Ann is on board with that, I have a motion that the board can go ahead and approve.
okay, board, let's go.
Hillary, does
Yes,
that,
board.
Hillary, can I have
Sorry.
a question? Does that change as far as the water monitoring suggestions or anything?
It's more intensive monitoring. It's more intensive monitoring for remedial than provisional.
Right, okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Hillary?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, is that something that just carries forward in the additional approvals? Because I couldn't find it under Advantex or any of them. Like, once they're granted that, is that a DEP oversight that it's not carried forward into provisional? I'm just curious.
It's not, I guess it's not transferred into provisional as I have seen either. So, the Advantex it still stays with remedial for the reduced separation to groundwater.
Uh-huh, okay.
So all the technologies are different. So this one happens to be remedial. So shall we go forward?
Sure, yeah.
Yes,
Okay, I move to approve the CSN engineering plan number 2020-284 dated 10/27/20 and grant the 10 variances requested in the letter of 11/9/20 for the upgrade of a septic system to serve a 1-bedroom apartment and a 1,500 square foot retail space, grandfathered non-conforming structure, using the Fuji Clean denitrification technology under the remedial use category, subject to the following conditions: design flow to be limited to 220 gallons per day, a reduced leach area variance for a 20% reduction in the SAS, 148 gallons per day provided, no increase in habitable area without Board of Health review, no conversion of use without Board of Health review, deed recording, IA monitoring, and inspection of pumps, alarms, and other equipment.
I second, and if we could have a vote.
Nick,
Janet,
yes.
aye.
Nick, yes.
Gary, yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
your patience, Ann.
Good research, Hillary. Took a while.
Good
Thanks.
job.
All right, moving on to 85
Ja-
Chiquesset Bluff in Wellfleet. This is Jason Ellison's project.
Yes.
and Denise is here with us, and we can go ahead and hear that one.
Yes, Jason.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I apologize. I didn't realize I had this hearing today. But so this property is an existing 3-bedroom house. It just has a single cesspool. It's right on Wellfleet Harbor. There's some abutting wells that are close by, so we have the well variances there, and we're just replacing it with a 3-bedroom leach area and an Orenco Advantex system. There's no increase in flow or building permits or anything involved with it. They're just voluntary rates. So if you have any questions, be happy to try to answer them for you.
I'm just looking for my thing here. I had a question, Jason, on the, I just have to find the right plan. I have so many plans here. Be patient with me.
No
On the
worries.
well to lot 197,
Okay.
the well, it just seemed very, very low when I did a site visit yesterday, the well.
In
I'm
terms
gonna get the
of,
plan in a minute. It seemed like it was really,
like, well, in terms
Downgrade?
of close,
yeah, downgrade, yeah,
Downgrade?
yes.
I mean, in terms of the topography, it's low or low in
Yes,
terms
the
of
topography. I just
distance?
didn't, I just had a question about that. So if
Yeah.
you could articulate that a little bit for me?
Yeah, I mean,
I know the
so you're
variance is
talking about the
5
well,
feet, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, the well that's to the, is that the one you're thinking of? Ooh, can you hear me?
yes, I can, yes.
Okay, you're talking about the well to the east, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. So, so both of we have those two well variances to both the wells, the one to the east and the one to the west. I mean,
Right.
obviously the topography drops down to the one to the east there a bit. The soil there is very pervious. It's very sandy. So in terms of flow, I would think that the groundwater flow would likely be southerly towards the harbor, and I'm just guessing on that. So the groundwater flow would be more lateral to the abutting wells.
I see.
As far as the topography goes, I mean, in terms of the grade there, the only time that would be a problem is if the groundwater or the sewage came out of the septic system and bubbled up, ponded up on the ground and flowed on the on the grade level down to the well. That would be the only. Both of them on either side, they're both at some point due to be upgraded. Also, they both have it's either cesspools or very old Title V, so they will probably be looking to upgrade those at some point and hopefully move those wells farther away from the road, and those septics will likely end up closer to the street like this one is proposed. So at some point that likely be rectified. So
yeah, it's just so unusual to have both sides, the variances for both of the abutters and not for the homeowner, So, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer. Yes.
I'm thinking they probably put the wells where they did, probably because of salinity. They probably put them farther from the water to try to resolve some salt salinity issues, but that's just a guess.
Gary, do you agree with that? Gary?
What Jason just said is absolutely right.
Okay.
That's why the wells are more likely where they are right now. And it's going to may be challenging in that area to move those wells and get good water.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have a motion.
Okay.
Hillary wants to get moving.
Well, I'm gonna.
Happy Hillary, go. You
Good.
have to go, yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
move to approve the J.C. Ellis plan dated 7/20/20 and grant the 6 variances requested in the letter of 10/20/20 for the upgrade of the septic system to serve a 3-bedroom dwelling, a grandfathered non-conforming dwelling with respect to nitrogen loading using the Vantex AX20 denitrification technology under the general use approval category, subject to the following conditions: design flow to be limited to 336.87 gallons per day, no increase in habitable area without Board of Health review, no conversion of use without Board of Health review, well water testing, deed recording, and IA monitoring, please.
Okay, second?
Nichols, second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Janet?
Gary.
Hi, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thanks for your patience, Jason.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Okay, take care. Okay, we're on to Nancy Chiavetta. Nancy, are you there?
I am.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Nancy.
No, it's no big deal at all.
I'm sure you have
Janet?
lots to do. Yes.
Yeah, Janet, unfortunately, I have to go right now. So I
Okay, Gary.
apologize.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
very
And I
good.
will talk
Thanks,
to
Gary.
Hillary.
Thank you,
Thanks for your
Gary.
time.
Okay, thank you.
Bye,
And
Gary.
thanks for
Bye,
always
guys.
teaching me. Thanks for always teaching me. Okay, Nancy, we're ready for you, dear. We're on the shellfish relay, so,
The only problem is we now don't have
Don't have
a
a quorum.
quorum.
okay. So we can't vote on that,
We can't vote on anything.
on anything, yeah.
We can see if we can get Ken back.
do you have his cell phone number, Hillary? I'll call him.
Okay, maybe you should call him this time.
He likes me a little bit.
All right, so he's done. Here's his number. I'll share his contact with you. Okay.
And we didn't hear from Jed, huh?
We
No.
haven't heard from Jed in months.
Okay,
And we email him.
okay. Maybe Ken should give him a call and see what his status is, you know?
Yeah.
You know, my challenge here on this is how do we sign for the licenses, Hillary?
So
Or do we
I was
just say,
gonna have
I
you
hereby say
authorize-
to you, Hillary?
I was going to authorize you to have me sign them on your behalf as you've done in the past, but now we don't have a quorum, so
So we can't do that, okay.
perhaps I'll sign them and then tell you after the fact that I've signed them, so we're not holding businesses up from.
Okay,
getting
please
them.
do, yeah, that's fine with me.
Janet, on the shellfish relay and the farmer's market, both of those issues would require voting
Yes,
on issues, yeah.
from,
No, I
from the
don't-
Board
I-
of Health.
No, I
Or
don't
is it
think,
just informational? Is it just
I think it's-
informational?
it's just information only. We had asked Nancy to come and
Right.
explain to us the shellfish relay and the shellfish farmers market. We were just going to make you aware of as a new program that we're moving forward with, and
Okay.
just be on the lookout for it. But we
So
don't.
it doesn't require any approval, but you should
No.
have a quorum.
We
for
should
the
probably have a quorum to
presentation.
hear it, I guess. Okay, I was just
Yeah,
trying to get
but there's no,
Nancy to
there's no
present, but
approval,
okay,
no.
okay, we'll wait.
While we're waiting, Nancy, I just want to tell you, I thank you so much for your handout because you answered my questions, you know, that you're testing before there's reharvesting and that it's got such a long history. And I didn't even know that, even from my action with SPAT, you know, and with the relay, I had no idea about the length of the history of it, you know, not just in Wellfleet, but all over. So it was very educating. Thank you.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Hillary, did you send them our plan or the plan that I was running by you for the farmer's market?
I sent them both documents that were attached to that one.
Okay, yep.
I didn't see that. I must have missed that.
Hillary,
Yes.
or the farmer's market, will they be all individual vendors? I mean, is that,
Yes.
so they'll all need permits each?
Yes.
Okay,
So does the Board of Health have to approve those permits, Hillary?
No, we issue
Yeah.
them as temporary food service just through the office.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, we don't meet again until December, and poor Nancy's been waiting on the line for an hour and 45 minutes to talk to us. So we can't get Ken?
Could Nick and I assume the responsibility for giving a report at the next meeting for informational and do something in writing maybe to the rest of the membership to inform them of the relay program and the farmers market? if it doesn't require? I mean, I don't
You
know,
can still
Robert.
have the
Helen, you can
discussion.
have
The
it.
only thing with open meeting law is you cannot deliberate or make votes or motions or votes. So if
Okay.
Nancy wants to give out her information to you guys and you want to report back when you have a full quorum, I'm under the understanding that you can do that. You just can't make a
Okay.
motion or a vote.
So it's not an approval that will hold up Nancy's plans or any,
No.
or the Shellfish Farmers Market.
Nope. If-
Helen, that's okay with you? Okay.
Helen, you're muted.
Sorry about that. You can't deliberate, you can't ask questions. Thank you for being careful about this.
Okay.
And I'm surprised, may I just say in a very patient way, I'm surprised that Gary left knowing that you would lose your quorum. So that's just an
Well, without judgment, it's 2:00 in the afternoon and he's working. So I think that,
I get it.
but that's not neither here nor there. But what we're saying here is, can we have an informational exchange with Nancy so that she feels she's touched base with at least two of us, and the two of us could assume the responsibility for sharing it, as would Hillary, with the rest of the membership, because it's just informational. It is not.
Yep.
So
Yes,
if
in my
we
opinion,
share it,
but-
if we share it between November and December, it's better than them hearing it in December.
But can we ask questions, Janet, or? you know,
Wait, may I answer the question? You can
Yes, Helen.
also, if you don't ask any questions or express any opinions, Nancy could brief you now with no comments from you,
Okay,
right?
okay.
That's the same thing. And actually, that would be better. You know why? It would be in the minutes. There would be evidence that there was absolutely no discussion by the members
Okay.
of the board. And it also would be accessible on a video, audio for those members who went galloping off. Thank you.
Well, the other thing.
Okay,
is
Hillary,
I-
is that
I-
okay with you? Yes.
Yes, that's completely okay with me. We can have Nancy just talk to us. We can't ask questions, but jot your questions down and we can get them to her and get answers at another time. So go ahead, Nancy, take it away.
Go, Nancy.
Okay, I feel like I prepared the memos so that, I can just repeat myself by saying what's in the memos. But in terms of me, like doing the education, I forwarded that in advance so that everybody would be able to read that, and then I could answer questions. But in a nutshell, the contaminated quahog relay is something that the town has been doing since 2018. So this was our third year. And it's completely regulated and overseen by the state. They are extremely attentive to this program, but it's a way for them to make sure that shellfish resources in the state are put to good use. So the Taunton River is lightly contaminated, and you can't allow shellfish harvesting from it. It's just fecal coliform. It's nothing worse than that. So we do what's called a relay. We move them from contaminated waters, we put them in our clean waters, and these quahogs continue to filter feed, cleaning our waters and purging themselves. And then they also, they have a mandatory 3-month period in which you have to be closed to harvest, which allows these quahogs to spawn, thereby, one hopes, creating a future shellfish bed there, a future quahog bed in that area. We have been supported by SPAT in this endeavor in the past. They helped us set up an area at Indian Neck, which last year we did Burton Baker Beach and closed it. And this year we did the area by the breakwater. And so we'll probably kind of go back and forth like that until maybe, there's comes a day where they're so prolific we don't need to. But both recreational and commercial harvesters really appreciate this because it does, you do know that they're going to be there. And especially this year with the increase in recreational harvest, it's good to know we got, I think it was 500 bushels that we put between Chipman's Cove and Indian Neck. So it's good to know that there's product there for people because they paid for their shellfishing permits, and there's been a lot of demand in those areas. So it's good that they're in there. And as Janet was pointing out earlier, they get tested before they leave the site. They get tested before they get approved for harvest and consumption. So it's pretty tightly regulated. We have to do a special permit that allows us to do it. And it's been met with great success. And not only does the department feel good about it, but it's been evident and made clear to us that our shellfishing community is very supportive of our efforts.
Thank you, Nancy.
And then about the shellfish farmers.
Shellfish farmers market, yes.
So the select board was approached by the Wellfleet Shellfishmen's Association and Ryan Curley about trying to get the regulations changed in order to allow shellfishermen to sell direct to consumers. They've looked around them. They see lobstermen selling off the boat, finfish selling whole fish from the boat, scallopers selling from the boat, and they really wanted to be able to sell direct as well. Unfortunately, all those other types of seafood get cooked, and shellfish are typically eaten raw, especially oysters. And so the DMF, the Division of Marine Fisheries, is not interested at all in entertaining this. They've worked really hard to keep this product safe. It is a product that can cause problems, health problems. And so they really, they just don't want to do it. However, the select board did send the letter to Governor Baker, and trying to change those rules is something that's going to take a long time. It could be, a year or more. So I tried to think creatively out of the box and inside the regulations about what we might do, because people need help now. The whole reason that people want to do this is because restaurants are closed or operating at half capacity. There's all these restrictions coming and going on restaurants. So demand for oysters in particular, but shellfish in general, has plummeted. And this is really affecting the bottom line of our community. And I will let you know that our community is...
You have a quorum, just so you know.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, Ken. So our community is approximately 3,100 people, 15% of whom make their living in the shellfishing industry. So it is the year-round lifeblood of our town. If the shellfish industry starts to collapse, I really fear for the long-term financial impacts to the town overall. So what I thought about was trying to put together a program that would have a more immediate benefit now, because people need cash in their pockets now. And in speaking with Eric Hickey at the Department of Public Health, we kind of had this idea about maybe doing a market that would take place on the pier, kind of like a mini oyster fest, but no raw bars. It would just be shellfish in bags, whole shellfish, live shellfish in bags that people would come and take home. So I sat down with Assistant Constable Johnny Mankiewicz, and we came up with a draft set of proposals and protocols and how this would run. And we sent it over to DMF, and I sent it over to Hillary for review, just in terms of big picture feedback. And there's still some kinks to work out. The Department of Public Health, my proposal was let the shellfishermen bring their product to the dealers that they usually sell to, have that dealer retag the product, charge them 5 cents an oyster or whatever that it might be, and then let the do all the reporting, time, temperature controls, everything, and then the shellfishermen pick that product back up and bring it to the farmer's market that morning, and we'll call it a farmer's market, a shellfish market. DPH is pushing back pretty hard on that, saying that they just would like it to be one dealer that does everybody. And or at the very least, that the dealer brings the product
over. Yeah.
So they want the dealer to bring the product to the pier under mechanical refrigeration. So I'm probably not going to be able to get around that. I might be able to push to have that be the procedure, but everybody use their own dealer. I'm just not sure.
It's
So
like
there's
the
still
Oyster
some-
Fest. It's like the Oyster Fest. You know, the
It's-
Oyster Fest, all of those shellfish are under one dealership.
One
under
dealer,
one-
right?
Yeah, right, right.
So that,
right.
and I will look into that and see if we could get a dealer that would be able to work with our community and not have it be, so expensive as to negate the
Right,
extra
right.
time and
That's
effort,
the
because
problem. Yeah.
the harvesters are going to have to do a lot more. They're going to have to keep a log of who they sell to, because we have to have traceability. And,
Right.
so there's going to be additional labor and time, and then marketing, right? They're going to have to reach out to their community to see people want to come and buy. That's how they've been doing it, at least with what I've seen in the seafood, like with scallops and lobsters and fish from boats. Everybody's kind of doing it through their Facebook pages. So they know who's going to be showing up. But, it's still in a draft form. And my goal would be, if we could get this up and running by the second Saturday in December, then you'd have a couple of Saturdays before the
Christmas,
holidays.
yeah.
And that might be some change in people's pockets. And then based on what I saw last winter, and if people are, we have a COVID plan where everybody's in their cars, they don't get out of their car, and the shellfisherman puts it in their trunk and their cooler, and so people can wait in the shellfishermen can wait in their vehicles, and the people are in their cars. So even in the winter, it could be successful.
Right. Right.
Just kind of remains to be seen. But I felt strongly, and I was, thrilled to have the backup of Hillary, that we can try and do something ourselves right now without waiting, for larger changes to happen legislatively or regulatory arena. Let's try and make something happen now that could put some cash in people's pocket over the winter, because we're going to need it.
Yeah. I have a question. First, I can speak now, right? Ken, you here? Good. Okay. My question is there any way you could get the shellfishermen to meet on the pier and have a dealer there so you don't need temperature control? It's right out of the sea. The tag is checked. The tide is checked. It's been checked by you. I mean, what is the purpose of the dealer is for appropriate refrigeration and storage, and for the transport of that shellfish to the home so we can trace it for public health reasons, right? With Vibrio. So if it was sold immediately out of the sea,
We're outside of Vibrio, and so that's another reason. Not that that's the only, shellfish.
Right. But as far as if I walk a mile in DMF's shoes, what objective is lost if you have a dealer at the pier who's going to check the tags? You have the shellfishing department at the pier who's going to make sure the tide coincides with blah, 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 blah. And it's going to be iced at the pier if needed. So, I mean, I don't know what the purpose of the dealer is besides making money then in this case. If all the health.
The purpose of the dealer is that a shellfisherman can only sell to a licensed dealer.
I know that.
Okay,
but the reason he can only sell to a dealer is because of temperature control and appropriate tagging for follow-up in public health realms.
Safety
and
issues.
reporting. So if those issues can be met in an immediate situation, then if a dealer decided they would like to help us out and they came and they did whatever they need to do without transporting the shellfish, without giving him 5 cents for it each one.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's what I visualized when I first saw it. I thought, oh, the dealer's going to come right to the pier. Taking the dealer out of it is not meeting the health objectives of the shellfish industry. I don't know.
Yeah, but can we legally? I mean, can the municipal town issue a permit without a DMF certification?
No.
So we have to have a dealership somewhere.
The dealer has to be involved.
Exactly. So the dealer's there. So the dealer's there, and if some dealer might assume responsibility for that.
Yeah, I thought you were circumventing the dealer somehow. The state, the DMF. No, as long as that's involved, that should work.
Well, you're circumventing the 5 cents a shellfish. That's what I want.
No, as long as there's a certified, a licensed dealer the DMF
Right.
who recognizes, well, then we can go from there, I think.
Yeah, and that's just me personally talking,
Yeah.
but I think from a Board of Health issue, you've got it all covered. And I think it's a great idea. I commend you on it. And I think you would get such tremendous support with this, you know, with Wellfleets. So thank
Yeah.
you, Nancy.
Yep.
Nancy, Helen?
Yeah, so Nancy, we already have a number of wholesale dealers who were also harvesters here. How many are there?
I think about 5.
Yeah, but couldn't they, what is this demand by the DMF that there's just one?
No, I might have misspoke on that one. I said what they don't want is they do not want the shellfishermen to transport from the dealer back. Sorry, I
Okay.
misspoke about that.
Okay, so here's
No
again,
transport.
hold on.
Right.
So our 5 wholesale dealers, these are people who fish here, who have farms, who have already gone a little farther than some others and gotten wholesale dealer permissions. They can do anything they want with their trucks in terms of transporting shellfish. Couldn't we start with at least those harvesters who have the wholesale licenses being able to set up on the pier just like that? Because they have to land what they harvest just the same as everybody else. But they don't have to put it in somebody else's truck. The thing that I want to know is, isn't there a certain amount of tagging before they get sold? Doesn't that take time? In other words, it gets off.
Yeah, I mean, the dealer has to tag, they have to do time temperature controls, and
That's
they
right.
have to report to SAFIS.
Yes, but couldn't they, since they have to tag anyway, right? So if I harvest and I bring it to the dealer, I've tagged, my bags are tagged, I've tagged. And then the dealer has to tag too, right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's you and you, if you are also the wholesale dealer, you can just tag once, really, can't you?
No,
Still has
just-
to have the shellfisherman's tag on it.
Yeah.
But it's the same business when you own your own wholesale thing, right?
but you still have to go from harvest to dealer because the information on the tags is different.
No, I know that, but you wouldn't have to pass it to another entity.
Well, the objective of the dealer's tag and logging, it's logging more than tagging, but the objective of the dealer's logging is for the safe refrigeration and
Refrigeration.
checking of that shellfish. You
Yes,
see,
I
that's
know,
the
but
whole
I'm
idea.
wondering if it couldn't all happen, to tag on to Janet's idea, if it couldn't happen more efficiently, and if those people, at least those 5 people, could do it all on the pier at one time somehow.
I don't think that you'll get 5 of those people. I mean, I
No.
think you'd be lucky to maybe get 1, maybe.
Got it.
I don't
Okay,
think that they're interested in doing that.
got it. Thank you.
But I can ask DPH if, you know, I don't know like the DPH regulations as well as I know the DMF regulations. So I can certainly ask them, you know, if we had a dealer who came to the pier
Right,
and
right.
did it at the pier, would that be acceptable or not?
Right.
Yeah, but then you have to have a dealer who on a Saturday wants to come for a couple hours before the farmer's market and do all that.
Well,
with
you know
staff.
what? It behooves them. It behooves them because they're making their money off the industry. You know, to my way of thinking. I mean,
Well,
for the
$5
greater good,
for
for the
100
greater good
If
of
they
all.
needed it, yeah.
Yeah, so I
the
felt
future.
that $5 for 100 oysters, if then like, let's just, and I'm not going to try and like do anybody's finances for them, but if you're going to be able to sell your product for
Right.
maybe double about what you would normally sell it for to a dealer, then, you know, spending $5 for, you know, retagging 100 pieces seems
That's a good deal. Right.
minimal,
Right.
right? But I,
Right.
you know, I can't say because I'm not a shell fisherman and I don't know, you know, the bottom line.
Right.
But I felt that the offer, we had one company said that they would be willing to do that for that price. So
That's great. That's great. That's great. Well, I think it's a great idea. I think it would be such a
successful.
boost for the economy and also for morale. Again,
Yeah.
it's I'm involved in the starting of the Fleet Fund, and I think that Wellfleet is to be commended because so many things that they're doing is making a tight community tighter. And I think it's admirable what we can do in a small town where everybody cares. So
Yeah, and the other thing is that
I love it.
like you were saying too, just about the whole promoting Wellfleets. And if we're able to be strong in the middle of a pandemic and get
Right.
people to pay attention, I mean, we can bring in a whole bunch of different partners from the county, and the Division of Marine Fisheries has said that they would lend their seafood promotion program. We have SPAT in town. We just
Right,
have a lot
right.
of ways to help spread this word. And, if Oysterfest is any example, there's quite a following out there that might,
Right,
if people are
exactly.
cooped up, they might want to take a 2-hour drive and just go pick up some oysters and see Cape Cod for a day, even on a Saturday in the middle of January. If they
I can actually tell you that they do this in Harwich with the scallop fishermen, and they have us meet them at the pier, and it's $15 a pound, and people are lined up down the street. I waited in line for about 45 minutes to get 2 pounds
Wow.
of scallops.
Wow.
It was worth it, and because of COVID, they've lost so much income, and the town allowed them to do this, and I would drive 2 hours to Wellfleet to get oysters. I go to Holbrook all the time now just so that I can get oysters. So
yeah,
I think it will do very well.
I'd like to, hope so.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help you with DPH or
Definitely. And Hillary's been with us right from the beginning. So it's great.
That's Hillary. Yay,
Thank
Hillary.
We're on.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Okay, you're
Okay,
welcome.
Nancy.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Did you want me to did you have anything on contaminated relay that you want? Any questions now that you have a quorum?
No, I'm good. I'm good, I know, but
I'm going over to conservation.
you
Thank
go.
you, Board of Health.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. And Nancy,
So
thank you.
are we
Rebecca, thank
adjourning?
you so much.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
And Helen, thank you so much. You for your advice and your comments. We really
And
appreciate
Nancy.
it. And
Oh,
so
oh,
nice
oh.
that you came.
That's
Bye,
very
guys.
nice of you. I add many minutes, but on the other hand, that's what a meeting's for.
But they're valuable. They're very valuable minutes, Helen.
Well, also the pay as you throw topic, it's, the select board is right next to you. You see, we're
Yeah.
should be joined at the brain about that. So
Yes, yes. Good. Okay, and could I have a motion, Nick, to adjourn?
You're not
I
gonna say.
shall motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Ken, are you okay?
Are we assuming the previous minutes are okay, I guess?
No, you can't approve them because I wasn't there.
No, and I'll
That's
just
right.
continue
Okay.
them to the next meeting.
I forgot you were here, Ken.
So
Okay,
Ken, you gotta thank me for coming back.
thank you.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you, Ken. You're wonderful. Are you
I-
all right?
I know that.
Hopefully the doctor's visit was nothing
Yeah,
that we have
it
to
was
worry
fine.
about.
Yeah.
Good,
that was
good,
good.
good.